He is AIG Bala Chiroma, is the AIG in charge of federal operations of the Nigerian police force. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you.
Our host, the DG Bond, members of the high table, critical stakeholders, permit me to stand on existing protocol. Accept the apologies of the Inspector General of Police, who is unavoidably absent from this function. He would have loved to be here himself. But I stand here to represent him. I'll go straight ahead and read his goodwill message. The National Broadcasting Commission has taken a worthy step, a step worthy of commendation by initiating this program, aimed at reminding broadcasters of their responsibility as the nation approaches the 2023 general election. The choice of the topic towards a fair and responsible broadcast coverage of 2023 general election, a multi-stakeholder dialogue as the theme of this event is timely and apt. As our dear nation inches towards the 2023 general elections, it is pertinent for us to heed the clarion call and remind ourselves that we are all duty-bound to ensure that the success of these forthcoming elections. In the light of the foregoing, the silent message is that national interest must supersede every other interest. It is therefore incumbent on members of this forum to embrace a responsible reportage that will place great premium on the security and unity of the country. Actors in the broadcast sector must understand and appreciate the sensitive stake of the broadcast media, especially in molding and shaping and influencing a public opinion. While highlighting the critical role of the broadcast media to national security, it is germane to bring to fore the ongoing effort of the Nigerian police force in ensuring success of the forthcoming 2023 general elections. Mindful of the various stages in the electioneering process, that is the pre-election and post-election phases, the police is working assiduously to ensure the success of the entire process. This includes well-structured training of police officers and men on election duty security management, on interagency collaboration with other security agencies. I want to assure that we'll be monitoring roles of the broadcast industry in ensuring that we have a peaceful election in 2023. Also want to assure that adequate security provisions have been made to ensure that an enabling environment is in place to enhance a peaceful election. In conclusion, I want to commend the National Broadcasting Commission for this proactive stride, which is in conformity with its mandate as a regulatory body for the broadcast sector. I wish the forum a fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Please give him a round of applause. When he was commissioner here, very accessible. I don't know if he has changed his number now, but anytime you call him, he will respond. Thank you very much, sir. Someone had called us once that a lawyer defended Yahoo boys and he got paid with fake dollars. And I told him, I said, sir, what do you want us to do? There's a problem. But distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have taken messages from all others. This time we are going to take a message from the media. We have with us the president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Let me specially invite the one who will be presiding over the 70th anniversary of the NUJ, Comrade Chris Isiguzo. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up to share with us some experience of the men on the field and as well as expectations ahead of the elections.
Our hosts, the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, the Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, other members of the high table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. When I received the invitation to be part of this multi-stakeholder forum, I felt so pleased because this forum is very, very important as we inch very close to the 2023 elections. Quite recently, the NUJ and the NBC, we've not appeared to be good friends. But when we got this invitation, we said, okay, it's yet another opportunity for us to come together because we owe it a duty to this country to work together. And I'm happy that BORN is represented here. APCON is also represented here. That had been our message, that we need to periodically check notes, talk to ourselves, and see areas of partnership. And that's why this engagement becomes highly imperative. Well, every other speaker today has talked about the media, the role of the media, what we need to do. And what that means is that the media remains a strategic stakeholder, a critical stakeholder in the delivery of credible, inclusive, using the chairman's word, election. If we want to continue to have democracy that works, the media must be up and doing. And like other speakers have said, this time is a very important time in the election calendar. Any moment from now, campaigns will start. And so many politicians will be looking our way. Therefore, as we get ready to discharge this responsibility reposed in us, we must ensure we don't do that along tribal lines, ethnic lines, religious lines. These lines have consistently divided us as a people. As media professionals, as broadcasters, I want to appeal to us. Let us not pander to the whims and caprices of these political actors. They have their own partisan interests. And like the DG said, and of course the chairman, all of us must ensure that we remain neutral before, during, and even after the elections. It is said that soldier come, soldier goes, the barrack remains. We are the barrack, and we must remain neutral. Let's not be tainted by pecuniary or mercantile considerations as we discharge our duties. Very, very important. I want to appeal to us. Because quite recently, the regulator has always bared its fangs. And each time it happens, all of you seated here will run to us to go and make the appeals. So whatever we do during these campaign periods, let's get very used to the rule books. When the representative of the EFCC chairman was reading his or presenting his goodwill message. So it's important that as we prepare for these elections, all the necessary books, all the necessary acts, all the necessary laws that we need to get accustomed to, let us do that. Because ignorance of the law is never an excuse. So I want to indeed applaud the NBC and merely send us on an errand. We must hold people accountable. The protection of the media, the safety of the media, nobody is talking about it. So we also want to appeal to the regulator. We also want to appeal to the security agencies. Let them not see us as competitors. We are partners in progress. Where you need to be there for us to give us the necessary security covering, please don't hesitate to do that. We are all equal partners in ensuring that we deliver Project Nigeria to Nigerians. Once more, I want to thank NBC for this forum you've put together. I heard that it took place in other 3 centers. That's a good one. It's not going to be a one-off thing. Even as we continue through the political process, we have to continue to engage ourselves. Thank you very much.
Please, let's clap for him. Let me also add that he is the president of the African Congress of Journalists and is a friend of the NBC. Please put your hands together for him. The NBC is your friend, and I read in one commentary that this current administration is one of the most humane and media-friendly tenure. Let's clap for our DG. He has always listened. He has always, anytime we call media executive or even a reporter, is willing to have a time to explain to you. And the letters are not flying like before anymore. Heads of station, please, let's clap for the NBC. Thank you. And I want to especially, my colleague said I should specially appreciate the former PRO of the NBC, Malam Awolu Salihu. Please clap for him. Thank you very much. He used to be very close. He's still our friend. You know, some things that retirement can do. And I asked Comrade Isiguso, I said, sir, do people retire? There are some people who should not retire from service. And he gave me this analogy. He said, look, not everybody retires. I said, how? He said, comrades don't retire, they join government. Golfers don't retire, they lose their drive. Accountants don't retire, they lose their balance. Bankers don't retire, they lose interest. Professors don't retire, they lose their faculties. Editors don't retire, they go to the byline. Politicians don't retire, they just change ship. And lawyers, he said, lawyers don't retire, they only stop lying. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I was supposed to call on the DG of the Advertising Regulation Council of Nigeria to speak, but I've been told to appeal to him that he's going to be chairing a session and he will tell us a lot at that session. And we know that he has a lot to say about these issues, particularly after the baptism. I'm sure he will tell us a lot. So because of that, and because we're trying to manage time, so we go straight into the papers, we will want to bring the representative of the chairman of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, is Mr. John Ube, but is represented here by the one who interacts with us every time, the Executive Secretary of BON, Dr. Yemisi Bangoshe. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up to speak to us this morning.
The MBC DG, let me especially recognize the chairman of INEC, and I must not forget to equally recognize the vice chairman of BON and the DG of FRCN. I will stand on existing protocol. I really want to thank we are very, very appreciative. In electioneering, I think 5 or 6 components are very, very critical. The electorate, the political parties, INEC, security, and the media. But the one that is in the eye of the storm, even more than INEC, is the media. Or let me say that both INEC and the media are in the eye of the storm. And the aspect of the media that is critically focused on is the broadcast media. And the broadcast media suffers 2 things: political pressure and economic pressure. But one thing is that those in the broadcast sector, because it's a special profession, they always push the economic pressure aside when it comes to the unity of the country, and they face the political pressure. This forum is so critical because before the new Electoral Act, the penalty for violation of the rules are just payment of fines, 500,000, 1 million. But the new act has introduced a new dimension that all of us should look into critically. When the chairman of INEC was reading sections 95 and 96, I was following him. And in it, you see the new dimension of imprisonment of principal officers. And who are the principal officers in broadcast stations? Maybe the general manager, the management staff, most especially those heading news and those heading programs. It's a new dimension that all of us must look at very well. I know in the past that many broadcasters have suffered a lot of injustice. Immediately after the election, the new governor, because the broadcaster has done the right thing, but he just comes in as the governor, he will just ask the general manager to go. And we thank God that because it's a special profession, people believe in protecting their integrity than sacrificing the Nigeria as a country. I want to believe that broadcasters will still do the same. Certainly there will be Nigeria after 2023 election, courtesy of the broadcast sector. Because in a situation like this, what we do is to come together and say we have to do it according to the laid down procedure. So I want to believe, and I can assure you that as they are sitting down there, they are taking note of everything. But I equally want to plead with them. We don't want any one of you to go to jail. If it is just a matter of payment, well, I would have said there's no problem. But we have to be wary of the politicians, most especially our principals. Our principals in this regard are the chief executive officers of the states, where they will say go and do it. Whatever that is going to come, we will face it. But I don't think they will follow us to jail when it comes to the issue of jail, if it's above, payment of fines. And that is the area where I want to appeal to you that go through that section 95 and 96 very, very well, so that we can defend the profession. Yes, it is certain that with it, many will lose their job. There's no doubt about that. Because I know of governors who will say, if you cannot do it, you better resign. And that is the area where I also think that the regulator should come in. The profession should equally be protected. The regulator should be able to stand up for people that are doing the right thing. Yes, we know that whoever has the power to hire equally has the power to fire. But in this case, if somebody has done it according to the dictates of the law, I think the regulator too should equally say, yes, we have to stand by this person that has done it according to the dictate of the law. So we really want to thank you, the DG of MBs, and I really want to thank the chairman of INEC. I think within the next 1 month, another one is going to hold, I think between APCON and Bonn, where we are equally going to call the chairman of INEC to equally drum this for everybody together at a time. Thank you so much. And I believe that the people here, they are going back and they are going to say it the way it should be. And I want to assure you that after 2023 election, there will be Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, a warmer round of applause for him and indeed all those who have spoken so far. The point is to have a Nigeria at the end of the day. And if all of us work together, we'll definitely see that happen. So we're going to have a little break now to take a group photograph of the people on this side of the table and the directors from the NBC joining them. So would respectfully ask sirs and ma'ams, if you could please just move to this side of the table so we can have a group photograph. The left side of the table so we could have a group photograph. We'll just arrange ourselves. Photographers, camera people, I hope we're ready for this. Thank you so much, sirs. The INEC chairman, the DGMBC, please, let's lead the pack that way. To the left of the table, please. Yes, thank you. This way, sir. Yes, this way. Yes, ma'am. All right, so please. Please, we'd like you down. Okay, we'd like to have everybody down.
The photographers are ready.
Yeah. Ma'am, am I going to see me? No.
For those in the audience, you can be on your feet to just stretch your legs, because immediately after this, we are hopefully going to start the presentations. So this is also an opportunity to network. Just stretch your legs for 2 minutes.
Is that better? Okay. Wow.
Except if you know how,
Okay.
except if you know how to stretch your leg when you are sitting.
All right, so we'll quickly have this photograph.
Move back way. Where they moving to? Where they want to go? One enter wall.
But the face is not.
Yeah, hold it. Thank you.
That's smile.
No problem. All right.
I'm sure we have more than enough pictures now. Are we good? Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going immediately to the first session, the first paper presentation. Would ask that all those on this side of the hall should please return to their seats. Thank you so much. The high table, please. If we can all be seated. Thank you. Please just mind your property, your phones, your bags. Ensure that you guard them closely. Please ensure that you guard your property very closely. Thank you. So we're not, right. We're actually not done. We're going into the paper presentation.
Sorry, ma'am.
I mean, I should just stand up and somebody will walk to the right and pick your things and walk away.
Wow.
That's why
I saw it.
And those on the high table, please return so we can continue with this. Thank you. The program is not over. We still have 2 paper presentations and of course the very important roundtable, an interactive session, which will be chaired by the DG of Archon.
You're doing so amazing. I look beautiful. How is everything? Good, good, good. Okay. But Auntie, I'll read the citations.
please ask those who want to interview should please do that in the foyer.
Interviews are going to be done in the foyer. Please, would ask that those at the high table should please return so we can continue with this very important stakeholder meeting.
This voice is always.
There you go. I hear words. I hear words. How are you doing? Good to see
I
you.
want to be like you.
I hope
we are
when I grow,
Ma'am?
I hope Luke Sarah will not find me for this. Please, those who want to interview the chairman of INEC should do that in the foyer. So that
Please, those who want to have interviews with the INEC chairman should please do so in the foyer so we can move on and clear the front, please.
Discussion.
Okay.
No interviews.
even your own event. Right, everybody's free from. No, you don't. Yeah, maybe we should start talking. Stand by.
So, guess our 5 minutes is up, and we have stretched our legs enough. So I'm sure we can continue with this very important event right now. May I ask that we please settle down? Those on the high table, please take your seats. As we said earlier, we have 2 paper presentations that will be done very swiftly, so we can ensure we leave here in very good time to attend to other pressing matters, as the case may be. We're very grateful to the INEC chairman who made time out to be here today, but due to other exigencies of office, he has to leave at this point. But the program continues with 2 paper presentations and, of course, an interactive session where we believe you'd have a lot to share with us. Shall we please settle down for the next session? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for settling down. Thank you all. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my media colleagues, Frank and Co, who are at the table, please can we take our seats? Thank you very much. Mr. Friday, please take your seats. Dr. Bamboshe, please. Yes. Thank you. We're so glad to have with us broadcast stations from Benue, from Plateau, from Niger, Nasarawa, Kwara, and Kogi. North Central states, all represented and all present. You are welcome. I believe our speaker, the first paper presenter, is around. All right, we still see a lot of people standing around the hall. If we could just take our seats so we can begin this fully and get into this next session so we can end swiftly and attend to other matters. Thank you all so much as you settle down.
Is she here now? Okay. Oh, she's there.
Right. Our first paper is titled Disinformation, Misinformation During Elections, a Multi-Stakeholder Responsibility. And this paper will be delivered by a renowned professor of mass communication who specializes in broadcasting and media studies. She has widely researched the areas of media, gender, and development communication, broadcasting, public relations, and advertising. She's not only an avid researcher, but an administrator par excellence. She has served in different capacities and acted in several research areas. She has edited several books on media studies and communication, authored many technical reports. She has over 70 peer-reviewed articles in both local and international journals. She's a member of several professional associations and her numerous contributions to scholarship has attracted for her a number of prestigious awards and recognitions, including being honored with the MDG's Award of Excellence for contributing to fulfilling Goal 2, which is achieving universal education of the United Nations. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, do join me to welcome our Professor of Broadcasting and Media Studies, Professor Ifeoma Vivian Dunu, to share her thoughts on dis and misinformation during elections, a multi-stakeholder responsibility. Please, a round of applause for her as she makes her way here. Thank you.
No, I won't speak from her because it will be better. I shouldn't. I can have it on the screen.
Thank you very much. On a lighter note, I think it's good that we are all here talking to ourselves. The big men, most of them have gone, so we need to listen. I wish to start this presentation by recognizing and begging to stand on already protocols. Before that, I need to mention that, like some of the previous speakers have said, there is need to greatly appreciate and commend the effort of the regulator of broadcasting in this country, NBC. Honestly, they have been consistent. We in the academia have noticed it. They have been consistent in partnering with other stakeholders, especially during the electoral period, to ensure elections will be credible. I want to say, NBC, well done. My topic here is very, very simple. This and misinformation during elections, a multi-stakeholders responsibility. Before I start this presentation again, I want to remind us of a particular statement, very profound statement, from the first black American president, Barack Obama. The statement is simple and it says, elections have consequences. The truth is that it is because we recognize that elections are indeed fundamentally consequential to the progress, to the well-being, to the corporate existence of any nation, that we all are here. It is also in recognition of this statement that NBC, INEC, the security agencies, the CSOs, and all the other stakeholders continually invest in ensuring that all the issues that may interfere with the integrity, the credibility, and the political outcome of this election are dealt with. We will recall that one of the prevalent issues trending around the world now is the issue of dis or misinformation that we popularly refer to as fake news. Misinformation or disinformation has always been referred to as a global threat to security, a global threat to unity, and more especially, a global threat to the integrity of the democratic process. In the light of all this, if you will not appreciate why we need to understand this concept of this and misinformation from two very important perspectives. From the perspective of the media broadcaster in using, misusing, or abusing this, and from the perspective of the electorate and all stakeholders that will continue to spread this and misinformation during election. And in order to do this, we will quickly look at the conceptual definition of these two words. This word, this form of information. Unfortunately, most of us use this word, this form of information, interchangeably as one word. But the truth that we need to clarify is that they are not one word. They are not synonyms, and they are distinct and mean quite different things. This information actually means statement, information, deliberately and intentionally designed to mislead. But the key part of this information is that this information is basically false, inaccurate, not factual. Misinformation, on the other hand, is also a false statement, a false story that is misleading, but not with the intention. It is not intentional. Let me give us an example. The political people here may, in dispersing their duties, instead of calling my friend Christine Guzo, the NUJ chairman, but Christine Guzo, the NUJ president, and the board president, that delivered a wonderful lecture during the 2022 NBC sensitization program. You see, it is false, it is misleading, that is misinformation, but the intention is not to deliberately cause harm. The intention is not to deliberately misinform. The intention is not to mislead, but it is still, misinformation still has the power to do what? Disrupt and interfere with our electoral process. When we look at this information, it is weightier, and that is why oftentimes this information has begun to be referred to as what? Fake news, fake stories. So that when we see people talking about stories that are fake, information that are not true, inaccurate information, fake news stories that we should not use, they are probably referring to what? This information. Information that is false, information that is inaccurate, information that is not true, information that is distorted, information that is corrupt, but information that is disseminated to cause harm, to mislead. You see, I wish that the big organs, INEC and the rest are here to understand that when we talk about the spread of fake stories, fake information, fake news, there is something recently that we need to understand. That the social media has not only provided the channel for the increased spread of fake news and stories, but has also taken the power of information distribution from the traditional media to the ordinary citizen. We need to understand that power shift. We need to understand that paradigm shift. We need to recognize it. Why do we need to do that? Why do we need to do that? We need to do that because we are concerned that misinformation and disinformation will be on the increase as the campaign starts. We are concerned that these tools will be weaponized by the political aspirants, party candidates, to influence unduly the outcome of the 2023 election. The INEC chairman has just told us their commitment to ensure that this 2023 election is free, fair, and credible. NBC sensitization programs are geared towards achieving that. The security agency, EFCC, has assured us of their own effort and interest in ensuring credible food. But the truth is, unless we learn all the techniques that spread mis and disinformation among the Nigerian electorate, unless we are fast and have been empowered technically, acquired the skills to easily identify these misinformation, these distorted stories, these fake stories as they emanate, until we are able to devise strategic communication that will not only prevent, that will not only attack, but prevent the spread of misinformation and disinformation, will be in trouble. Why? Research has shown us that majority of misinformation and disinformation that we have do not emanate from us, the media. I'm a media educator. And because I am a media educator as a professor, my responsibility is to always go to the field and do research. Is to always find out why what exists. To always understand how it exists. To always understand what drives these phenomena. So that we could map trends and effectively develop strategies that will help us. Today, as we started this, I was happy because the NBC chair, the EFCC DG, as my representative, the INEC chair, were very, very eloquent in reminding us, the media, of our responsibility in the electoral process, in ensuring its credibility, in making sure, again, that it is fair, free, and that it delivers what it should deliver. But when we were speaking, I quickly said that it is not just the responsibility of the media, it is not just the responsibility of these part of the stakeholder in this electoral process to ensure, but also the collective responsibility of all the stakeholders to always ensure one thing, that the activities, that the intention, that the processes and structure that guide and are distributed during the electoral processes are always regularly conveyed to the masses. Very, very important. The INEC chair just said that he is going to do a press conference tomorrow, and I was glad. And I just said to myself, I hope there will be an intensified rebroadcast of that press conference. You see, our problem is that we have not come to appreciate the devices and techniques that people that propagate false and disinformation use. We also should understand the distribution of a politician. We should also understand that these politicians and political parties have come to understand and recognize the power of the social media to spread information faster, farther, regularly than other types of media. They've also come to understand that most of us Nigerians, including those of us working in the traditional media, rely on the social media as the most or foremost media for breaking news and political communication. I see people nodding. That is the truth. The electoral stakeholders need to understand for us to minimize or combat the spread of mis or disinformation as campaigns start next tomorrow or thereabouts. We need to appreciate one, that our political candidates have also mastered how to explore this main channel of the spread of misinformation and fake news in the society. What we need to also appreciate as media practitioners is the power these social media platforms have in recent times to influence our news story. Yes, I understand and appreciate that most of us now, especially the broadcast media, will include in our programs trending information trending in the social media. I recognize that they also dedicate part of their website to call up what we and use citizen journalism. But the truth is that it is still not enough. When you take out time to monitor how many times these types of programs appear in the traditional media that has been entrusted with the provision of credible information that most Nigerians rely on to get authentic, true information, we will find out that it is not that much. So what does it mean? It means that the social media that has the capacity, that has the technique, that has the speed, that has the technology to spread information faster than the traditional media must be closely monitored. It is essential. Closely monitored by the traditional media practitioners. Not just monitoring them, but also critically fact-checking every information that emanates from these social media platforms before use. As elections start, the media will be bombarded with information from the political parties, from political candidates. The electorate will be bombarded with truths, half-truths, and outright lies. That is the media landscape that is going to evolve, starting maybe in the next 2 days. And if that is true, what is the responsibility of all the stakeholders? I define it simply. I think that communication theories have told us that using the concept of repeat, regular repetition, we find out that the social media platforms are able to penetrate, are able to influence the perception and mindset of the electorate faster than the traditional media. So I suggest, in the light of this, we, the broadcasters, need to adopt that technique. It is not just a one-off thing. We should increase the rate of credible, the rate of factual, the rate of truthful information about the electoral process that we disseminate to the public. We should proactively do what the scholars have said, overwhelm and flood the Nigerian public space with credible, factual, and full information. It is only when we do this within the line of the codes that all the regulators have furnished us with, that we will be able to minimize, to combat, to confront this evil monster, this misinformation during elections. Our worry really is that during elections, we have come to recognize that the dominant currency of transaction is not just dollar. It is what? Information. That is the truth. Information remains the dominant currency of transaction during elections. And they will realize, as media practitioners, as regulators, the power, this particular information that we disseminate has on electorate in affecting political behavior. We will do well to increase the quantity of information, credible information that we disseminate to the public. Apart from increasing that quantity of information, apart from being proactive in disseminating this information, there is also the significant aspect of partnering with each other, collaborating extensively, more than we are doing now, in ensuring that the quantity of information that we want to share gets to the electorate speedily. The social media platform has been recognized as the engine of disinformation and misinformation. Because of this recognition, there is need also, and because they are also part of the media, even though regulating them is difficult, even though regulating them causes them, we know, infringing somehow on freedom of expression and all the rest. But we advocate that we devise strategies of regulation that is not authoritarian. We devise strategies of internal mechanism that could be one, making sure, or when they distribute information, they use what? Their correct names instead of what? Pseudonyms. Because we find that sometimes people are comfortable when they are cloaked with invisibility, when they feel that they are not seen to engage in acts that they may not ordinarily engage. That is why misinformation, fake news spread fast in social media, because social media are the anonymity we need to continue to share, distribute, redistribute information that may not be true. Apart from that, as media broadcasters, instead of just debunking these false narratives, we should also learn not to legitimize them. We have noticed a new trend as scholars that in our effort as media practitioners to debunk these false information, to combat it by outrightly calling it out, we legitimize them and further enhance their legitimacy among the electorate. We also need to emphasize that part of the strategy to curtail disinformation and misinformation must come from government. Government must increase the quantity of sensitization programs in educating the electorates, not just the media, on disinformation and misinformation, on the dangers of these during elections. This will empower them to easily identify disinformation and misinformation. Government should also not concentrate on enacting laws or rules or pulling down social media platforms. They should also concentrate on making the electorate knowledgeable about the structures available to them to use in fighting misinformation or in fact checking. If there is an equal access to these tools, if these tools are there for us to use easily to fact check stories that we read from WhatsApp, to fact check stories that we see on Twitter, the spread of mis and disinformation will minimize. There is also need for government and all the other electoral stakeholders to partner with the providers of these social media platforms to leverage opportunities and resources that will have in checking and combating disinformation and misinformation. I quickly want to also remind us that oftentimes misinformation and disinformation spread, not necessarily because people want to use it to destroy, but because we've understood that the mechanism of trying to debunk this information are always complicated. They are not always easy. What does it lead to? Apathy. Once elected, we say, I don't have the strength. Or, let me leave it. Or, it's not true. Let it not be true. Who said it's not true? What happens? They end up not accepting, maybe not accepting false information, and also not accepting correct information when it comes. That is the problem. So we'll try to see how we will divide the mechanisms that will ensure that people despite whether this information is false or true, without going through tedious process. And the news media, especially the broadcast media, apart from ensuring high professionalism and ethical standards, need to also establish fact-checking desks. We need to do that. Because if we do that, and it contains our use of false information, it will reflect on the greater society. But the problem is that we don't have this. And most of our media managers do not do what? Such things. There is need to do that. In the absence of the availability of fact-checking instruments in our various media establishments, we could collaborate with the fact-checking organizations that we have in the country. The fact-checking coalition, I think they are now up to 100 or more than that. The other time, NOAA trained 377 fact-checkers to increase their number. Media organizations, media managers that are here. When we were doing the introduction, I was glad that almost everybody here are media managers or something like that. We need to also try to partner, to reach out to these fact-checkers organizations to see how we could use their resources regularly in writing our stories. Finally, disinformation and misinformation thrives always in the absence of or, and in fact, or where false, where truthful, credible, and accurate information is not enough. That is the truth. So, as media practitioners, as we go back to our various states and stations, we need to increase the amount of credible information that we send out to the public. We need to develop new strategies, new ways of ensuring that we flood the public space with credible, truthful, factual information. And as we do this, the truth is that there is a high possibility of reducing the spread and the effect of this and misinformation during this electoral period. In practical terms, we must partner with the security agencies, we must partner with the INEC that manages our electoral process, we must partner with all the stakeholders. Why is the partnership critical? Because the media represent the major channel that ensure that the activities and efforts of these people are always known to the public. We remember the incident, the few that occurred a few weeks ago of the false website, the false story about the registration, INEC registration, that has stopped, and the group that claimed that they have been empowered to continue. When it came and it was trending, the social media, everybody believed it. It was only when Okoye publicly debunked it and it circulated repeatedly in the traditional media, especially radio and television, that people began to accept and believe that it is not true. You see, the power of false information is that it could disrupt and distort our electoral process. As we start the campaign season, many information there will not be true, they will be false. It is our duty to ensure that we minimize them. It is our duty that to ensure that we debunk them. But most importantly, it is our duty to ensure that truthful and credible information overrides false information during this period. And the electorates are equipped and empowered with truthful information so that they will make informed decisions during this electoral period. Information can divide, misinformation can divide. It can cause violence, it threatens our unity. So there is need to manage it appropriately. Thank you very much.
Please let's make the applause warmer. Thank you so much, Professor Ifeoma Dunu, for sharing your thoughts on this and misinformation during elections, a multi-stakeholder responsibility. Indeed, truthful and credible information should override the mis and disinformation this season, and we all have a responsibility to make this happen. Next is our second paper presentation, and it's titled Broadcast Narratives in Electioneering and National Security. And this paper will be delivered by one who is a security expert with a doctorate degree in Peace and Strategic Studies from Nasarawa State University. He has professional expertise in security management and coordination, in advanced intelligence and investigation, innovation and strategy, conflict management and resolution, as well as communications and public relations. His dedication and commitment to service are evident in his awards and recognitions, particularly the DGSS Meritorious Award 2021, amongst others. He also holds professional memberships across various institutions in security, in public relations, and administration, including the National Institute of Public Relations, the Nigerian Institute of Management, and the American Society of Industrial Security. He has risen through the ranks in the Department of State Security, that's the DSS, where he is currently the head of communications and public relations. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, do join me as we make welcome Dr. Peter Afamaya to deliver this paper on broadcast narratives in electioneering and national security. Please, let's make the applause warmer.
Thank you very much. The members of the high table, distinguished Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen of the press and everyone here, good afternoon. Been invited to speak after an erudite scholar had spoken, made a mess of whatever CV I had posted. And it reminds me also how unintelligent I think I am. But then I will speak from experience rather than from academic prowess. I may not possess that to speak the rightness of our English and be as persuasive as she is. But I'll make an effort, having at least gone to school. I'm here to represent my Director General, Alhaji Yusuf Magaji Bichi, Fellow of the War College, and the Director General, Department of State Services. I bring to all of us his warm greetings and indeed the compliments of members of staff and management of that foremost domestic intelligence agency, whose men and women toil day and night, keep awake, who are nationalists and patriotic, and who work assiduously for the unity and indissolubility of our dear nation. We thank you for all your support. And at this occasion, we are associating with NBC to further solicit for everyone's understanding and indeed a high level support that we have a credible election, peaceful election, and of course, a Nigeria that we all desire, a peaceful Nigeria. I have been asked to speak on broadcast in electioneering and national broadcast narrative in electioneering and national security. Broadcasting, electioneering, national security. We are not in doubt about what broadcasting is. We all know that it's about transmission of signals. It can be traditional, like we have in radios and televisions. It can also be internet-based. One of the pipes we have today is what we call the social media transmission, which has offered opportunity for a greater number of persons to engage in community journalism, such that every person who has ever had a phone has become a journalist without borders. And this is where journalism is unregulated and has become a somewhat nuisance to public order and national security. And various reasons account for this. Because the social media, the source is anonymous, it's also easy to transmit. It reaches wider audience at the slightest short time. Those who use it tend to hide under some of these factors to be mischievous, and then set aside every caution and decide, most often than not, to cast narratives that are very wrong, narratives that are skewed against national interest, against national security, against public order. And with the election 2023, we think most of these things will be heightened. Looking at the importance of broadcasting, the Constitution, first and foremost, has identified in Section 22 that the media will play a critical role in ensuring that the people are educated, in ensuring that government is held to account, that government will be transparent, and of course that people are enlightened along these lines. In performing these objectives, it therefore means that the media, whether print, whether social media, whether broadcasting, will first and foremost endeavor to educate. But the kind and type of education that you deliver will be one that should be able to mobilize the people towards unity, towards tolerance, towards living in harmony. These platforms also entertain, they enlighten, they mobilize. But in an election period, what are they used for? We expect that political parties will use it to mobilize their members, that politicians will use it to also mobilize membership, sell their manifestos, and that the broadcast media that is offering their platform to this kind of persons will be certain that such platforms are not used to destroy rather than build. And so, while the campaigns go on, and you are bringing all manner of persons to analyze situations on your public domains or public platforms, there must be people after you have done your KYC very well. Now you have done your know your customer. The person you are bringing onto your platform must not be one who will come and be a rabble rouser, someone who will come to use your platform to instigate crisis, to incite the people, to malign, to disparage others, and be divisive. When you do these things, you create a job for us, an unnecessary one for that matter. That isn't what we are supposed to be doing to deal with deliberately created confusions, violence, and chaos. So you watch today, every manner of persons comes up on the TV and radio as a public analyst. And what they are analyzing, they are jaundiced sometimes, they analyze without data, they are merely subversive, they profile crimes along ethnic lines. And of course, they ensure that they bring down subversively institutions of government or officials of government just to play to the gallery and score cheap points. And some political parties also do this. And maybe as we get on, we re-echo the voice of the need for inclusiveness, for total peace. Now, there are some factors that affect broadcasting, and some of these factors, and these are the things you have to watch out in your broadcast, in your news, in your reportage, in your editorial, in your analysis, in your pictures. What language are you deploying? Not only you, the person you are inviting, what language is that person going to use? An intemperate language, a combative language, a language that is uncouth. So, as a production editor, or as a news editor, or line reporter, or correspondent, what language are you going to use to deploy in educating, enlightening? Every war in history has always started from language. Even in our daily lives, on the traffic, in our homes, that fight, even among siblings, has started from hot exchanges. Till the point, if mommy and daddy do not intervene, or if any other grown-up person do not intervene, the point you start to hear, touch me. If you say you are a strong person, touch me first. Some parents will even carry their children in dropping them at schools or in churches after church services. After church services, getting out of the gate, you will also be hearing, my friend, idiot, park well, give chance, waka. People who just left the church or mosque, in the last few minutes, every person was sanctimonious, every person was saintly. But just a few moments ago, people were now very combative. And the wife who is sitting by the side will also be saying, darling, beat the man, teach him a lesson. I will tell you who I am. Who are you? You are a human being. Your blood is red. We haven't seen a green blood. It can only be described in aristocratic terms, in those other terms that bring about people feeling they are better than others. But if, for instance, you had an accident or you are in a very dangerous situation and you needed a blood transfusion, the blood of your gate man may be the only fitting blood among all the people around you. That day, your wife's blood, your children's blood will be incompatible with yours. But it's the same gate man you think is smelling. It's the same gate man you think cannot sit in your parlor. But that day, or if nobody is around you, and every person had traveled, and you had a shock or you had any terrible situation, your gate man will come and lift you and put you in the car and look for somebody who will drive you out. You will recover that day and realize that this man should not sit here. How? So language is very important that we moderate how. The environment is also very important. You are a journalist. You are hunting for news. You are reporting news. And on election day, you are deployed in a certain place. You have gone to that place with certain insignia that is promoting one political party. Maybe at a conference like this, PDP or APC or Labour Party or any other political party may have invited you for a conference to empower journalists on how to write narratives or so. Or the Inter-Party Advisory Council invited you, and political parties came there and shared material person. People could attack you, or results have not yet been published, and you are sending out report to your feeds. And what happens? People also have seen that the report is coming from you. And maybe there is an environment that is dominated by one political party instead of the other. Now you endanger yourself. They look for you, will ambush you, and attack. Where if you went home, I blame for nothing that caused it now. I saw one of them who passed there last night, and because they are witches, my soup got sour. The husband will forgive you. We are blamed for everything, but never praised for one thing. On daily basis, we lose our security agencies, lose 5 minutes. When did I start? This is, if you didn't want me to come here, then you shouldn't have invited me. Am I right? So allow me to talk. Because I said I'm not intelligent, I will use my native language and be saying it. And that is what I have been saying. I say I won't go academic. I will speak from experience and the field. Okay, thank you very much. So, security organizations have people who lose their limbs, their lives, their families, and they work in very harsh, extraneous circumstances and situations. We need support rather than condemnations at all times. When we do right, praise us. When we do bad, understand. When it is not up to your expectations, be hopeful. Do not condemn. We are your project. And rather than condemning, okay, understanding perspectives you want to give out is also important. Understanding culture, ideology, extremism, violent extremism, belief systems, culture, and indeed ideology drive violent extremism, whether as terrorism or insurgency or separatist agitation. So, in elections and at a time like this, whether pre, during, or post-election, people at all times, if it is post, they want to bring down the legitimacy of a party that has won. If there is no election, subversive elements want to sabotage government efforts and put questions to the credibility and legitimacy of government so that they look weak in the eyes of the people. And some even latch on that to cause regime change. If you destroy your country, You will be a stranger in another man's country, like it or not. West, south, east, or west, home is the best. It's better you are a king in your home than being a servant in another person's kingdom. Going further, the aim, the interest drives your editorial position. It drives your news reportage. The same way it also drives the politician. The politician and your aim is just to win election and not to govern the people. If you have won and there is no unity, what have you benefited? Losing the battle, winning the battle by losing the war. If you're a journalist and you set Nigeria on fire, I mean, your interest may have been pecuniary, but in the course of making your money, you would have also killed Nigeria. And if there are no citizens, who will pay you the money? And if you are a politician and all the people had died, would you rule an empty space? You need the people to govern. So your content is also critical. What content are you making to take out to the public domain? Drawing from this, we believe that there are certain things we shouldn't do with broadcasting in electioneering period. Please do not send out fake news. I had an encounter 2 weeks ago. A journalist or a blogger sent out something that was obviously fake, untruthful. I contacted him. I said, why are you doing this? Can we talk? He said, bros, this is now September. They look for school fees. We are looking for school fees and you want to set everywhere on fire. These are not the kind of things we should do. Don't even use your platform. So encourage politicians who are also out to do same. One unintentional act that you may have traffic problem between you, possibly a Yoruba person, and another person, a Kanuri person, in Wuse market. Traffic. Oga, go back, make I remove my barrel. If this barrel touches me, I will now tell you who I am. And he pushed the barrel on your leg. Tell me who you are. And you slap him. Right? He brings a stone on your head. You fell there. You know, all the Yoruba people in Wuse market will come to defend one of their own. Who would they attack? An amorphous crowd. In the course of that, they hit an Igbo person. They hit Hausa. They hit another person. This thing is happening in Wuse market. All the markets in Nigeria, in Idumota, in Kano, in Sabongeri, in Port Harcourt, will revibrate in reprisals. Go back, let me remove my barrel. That was all. And it has triggered a national violence. And somebody is somewhere, rather than taming the issue, is now saying, support, bringing kerosene, fire, and pouring on a burning fire. And at the end, you are not better for it. I'm not better for it. Your shop is closed. Mine is closed. Services are not rendered. And it becomes excruciating for everyone. Those you think are suffering it may have special services that may not get to you. Banks are closed. You can't do transactions. So we may be deliberate in how we cast news and our orientation matters. So do not do skewed narratives and don't allow others do it. Propaganda is out of faith. And then if you are in a place or as a journalist or as a politician, please play according to the rules of the game and avoid bad programs. Combative editorial stance, transmission of unconfirmed results, yielding your platforms to those who will use it to canvass ethno-religious fault lines. Everything in Nigeria. There was a village in the southeast the governor and one of the politicians were fighting. As at that time, the other person had attracted the electricity project. And the villagers went and they cut down the poles and removed the high tension wire, that they don't need the electricity from that man. The governor started putting new poles. The other people went and broke down the poles. Till today, there's no light in that community. Have you seen such a thing? Cutting your ear to spite your nose. Is it done? Electricity is for you. And these people have industrial listers in their homes. Who are you offending? So most time we talk right, my right. And don't talk to me like that. I have my right, right? Good. Good. The right to freedom of speech comes with the laws of libel and slander. The right to freedom of movement comes with the right that as far as there is a valid copy, your movement is restricted. The government and the society that instilled order to control itself is not foolish. The social contract is that citizens will do this in exchange for the protection of this. And today, the continuous expansion of non-state actors that have continued to challenge the monopoly of force, of government constituted authorities is a challenge world over. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. So do not give oxygen to those kind of persons. Don't allow your platforms to be used by persons who will come to malign political opposites or use it to disinform. The professor had talked extensively on that. I won't repeat it. And the journalists and professionals and the politicians must be professional in their conduct. Now, there are effects of some of these things. We have seen them. Violence, disunity, crisis. The so-called answers started with misinformation and upgraded to disinformation and worry around October 2020 or thereabouts. And those who were coming later to say, oh, it is not our intention to do that, they had caused the damage. So, and today we haven't learned lessons. When the issue of Deborah happened in Sokoto, and somebody was saying, they have burned this place. They have, that video emanated from the US. At another time, somebody released a video, I am in Meduguri, they are chasing me. So we don't believe everything. Before you click that button, check, ask the fundamental questions. Is it right? The result you want to publish when INEC had not spoken, please recheck. Today we'll be casting aspersions on INEC. The results are not yet out. But from what you are doing so far, you're already putting the result in doubt. Such that when it is published, they will now say, after all, we said it. They are working from answer to question. But it is you, me, and every citizen who could give INEC all the support. Do not damage the country's image for your sake. Now, moving forward, what should we do? We have to realize that Nigeria is our own. We have to obey what is lawful and conduct ourselves properly and pursue and realize the national security objectives and interests as properly as they should be. We have to be objective, constructive engagement. That is what we do. In the SSS, we believe that no one hand ties a person. We believe that we have to work as a team to succeed. So let's do something that will give INEC credibility, give the results. 2023 editing all of those, and they will crush them to the last. Everyone who needed to speak on them is speaking, and if the things were as people or foreign media or local media want to paint it, we won't be here. We won't. Yes, there may be issues, but they're not happen. Corpses are littered on the road. Or if we are going from Kaduna to Kano, you cannot reach there in 10 days. But it's not true. So the major threats to the 2023 election are fake news, hate speeches, and the conduct of politicians. Yes, the rules of engagement, and who find it difficult to rein in their supporters to be of good conduct. Talk to your supporters. The DSS and indeed other security agencies are committed to a free, the outcome of which equity is been work in progress. And each one has been an improvement of the other. The 2023, as far as we are concerned, will be better. So we call all Nigerians to be very, the establishment of what they call interagency consultative committee on electoral security. NGOs, security agencies, and INEC, they meet every now and then to look at issues of security, protection of life and property that will give room for the free and on low. We will liaise with stakeholders, security, and electoral bodies to ensure that all manners of fake news and hate speech are reduced to the barest minimum to shun these inimical acts like ethnic profiling, fake news, intolerance that will injure our unity. And we therefore call on everyone as we continue to give NBC, INEC, and every stakeholder all the support that they need to achieve a peaceful Nigeria. We invite citizens, residents, and the entire populace to work together with us for a better and progressive Nigeria. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. Please let's give him another round of applause. I like the part that he said he will speak from experience and use traditional intelligence. In Katsina, they will call it the moralistic idea. One man had gotten a note from his ex about the breakup, and he went to his parents' house and was crying. But when his mother got in, his mother asked him, "So what's happening?" He said, "I am in an online class and I'm learning how to cook." His mother was happy. She came back again and she saw that his eyes were dripping. And she said, "But why are your eyes dripping with tears?" He said, "Yes, I have reached the point where they are cutting onions." We have one man who will speak to us next. And the next point is that we are opening up the walls. It's no longer going to be from here to there, now it's going to be from that side to this place. Or two quick points will be made. One will be the chair for the session will open with a statement, and immediately after that we'll have one of our consultants do the opening, then he will coordinate every other thing. But the man who will speak to us has a very robust CV, and I'm not very good at reading CVs, but I know that he studied economics. He also has 3 master's degrees, one in marketing, one in business admin, and one in legal studies.
NTA, you can't beat the rich. Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently